Robeson 1070. Buttar is a good progressive, but he wasn't relatable and not a good candidate. Policy and substance is great and all, but San Franciscans need more. Who will enter neolib Mordor and cast Pelosi's ice cream scoop into the fire? That is a great question. Hello, everybody. You're watching The Political Vigilante. I'm here with Ron Placone. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new to it. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate, so let's fight YouTube, which is owned by Google, which works with the CIA. I wonder why my numbers are going down. And also you can watch us at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, which is a blockchain cryptocurrency platform. All my videos that are on YouTube are also on Rockfin. They're ad-free. It is free to sign up for Rockfin. They do have a premium tier at $10 a month, which gets you access to all the premium content on the whole platform. My stuff, Ron stuff, Convo Couch, Nico House, Kim Iverson, Jimmy Dore, Lee Camp is going to be joining. Dave Anthony from the Dollop is going to be joining. It's a fantastic.
I think Rania Kalick just joined.
Rania Kalick joined. Awesome.
I think she did. Yeah.
Fantastic. So the channel just keeps getting better and better. But make sure you hit the subscribe button. So Ron, why do you think Shahid Buttar lost to Nancy Pelosi? Now we met him. I mean, he came on the Jimmy Dore show. He came to our show in San Francisco, which was cool a year ago. He's one of the many progressives that came out. I would have loved for him to have defeated Nancy Pelosi. She obviously pulled a smear tactic. They threw out some sort of, Me Too thing on him. I don't know how valid it is, but it really seemed like it was just a tactic to take him out. But also, Nancy Pelosi stays in office because she has one of the wealthiest districts. All these wealthy people in Northern California, the tech people, she takes care of them. And that's part of what he was up against. What do you think caused him to not win?
Yeah, and I like Shahid. I mean, I think he actually would make a very good elected official. And, in fairness, too, he did get more votes than any other challenger did in decades against her. I think it's a matter of he was going up against a political juggernaut. And, getting back to something that we said earlier in the program, the establishment Democrats really learned a lesson from Joe Crowley when AOC took him out. And that lesson was, do not validate these progressive challengers. Do not grant them a debate. Do not say their name. Do not acknowledge them. Do not even say anything that they exist, so that when people go to the polls and when people go to vote, they just don't realize there's a valid alternative. They don't realize there's an actual contender, and they just vote for what they know. And Nancy Pelosi has a hell of a lot of name recognition in that district, which also, another thing worth mentioning is San Francisco proper, where that district's at. And this is what people who live there have said to us and have said to me and Graham. And when we play there, what people have said, it's actually not all that progressive because it's very Silicon Valley-y. It's very unaffordable. The creative class got kicked out to Oakland, and then a lot of them got kicked down to Portland, really. It's not an affordable place, so it's much more just kind of neoliberal than progressive.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to my cousin who grew up in San Francisco. Has a band called Junk Parlor. Check him out. And he goes, and he doesn't live in the city. And he goes, Graham, the soul of San Francisco is gone. He said it's all got taken over by the tech companies, and that's why the rents are through the roof. And now there's a horrible homeless problem, and now the street drugs have gotten out of control. And he said it's just you can't afford to live there. There's no progressive, movement of the people. The way that thing you've always identified with San Francisco that we all have, that's where the real activists, lefties live. They're gone. They left. They got pushed out because it's too expensive there now. So that's why Pelosi stays in power. It's absolutely correct, because now it's just rich tech people. And rich tech people, they don't give a damn about fixing homelessness or they're just neoliberals. They just want to put a rainbow flag on their $100,000 car and say, there, I did it. That's how I helped.
Yeah. I mean, my sister left that city recently. She lived in San Francisco, and it just got to the point where they, her and her husband we're just like, gee, it is so freaking expensive here. And they just, they kind of saw the city change over the years. I mean, she was out there 8 years. And the kind of soul of San Francisco, like what your cousin describes, it is literally dying because, I mean, you do have a handful of like beatniks and so forth that have like been grandfathered in parts of North Beach. They're still hanging on, but they're older people. Like they're literally dying off because they're older and there's not a new generation stepping in because they've all been priced out of it. So yeah, it's a different place. I mean, I still love that area. I still love that city, and there's still a lot going on in the Bay Area and so forth. But yeah, San Francisco proper, it's really been, the creative class has really been pushed out of there to a pretty big degree. So
yeah, because like you said, because it's so priced, there's no new young, because that would be the thing. Then younger artists would move in and they would keep that, the hippie vibe and that open, creative. And now it's not. Now it's just tech people. I did a Julian Assange march a little over a year ago. I think it was like May of 2019. And I thought, oh man, this is going to be huge at San Francisco. And there was a decent turnout, but people were like, huh? And some tech guy on his phone's like, what are you guys doing? And he said something about Julian Assange. And I said, you are literally repeating a State Department talking point. And I spoke at this rally and it was like you say, mostly older people who had grown up in San Francisco their whole lives. And then some younger people. But that's literally when my cousin said, we went out to eat after he came to the rally. And he goes, yeah, the soul of San Francisco is dead. It's gone, because he had to move out. He couldn't afford it, so yeah, I think it's just the big money basically is what defeated Shahid Buttar.
Yeah.
To answer that question. I mean, but again, I don't know. I mean, AOC gave a lot of people hope, like, oh, we could take the party over this way. And the Democratic Party said, absolutely not. And now my firm belief is when she got elected, I was like, this is huge. This is huge. And then she started to acquiesce, to the Democratic establishment. And now my firm belief is it is impossible to reform that party from within. So if you want to beat Nancy Pelosi, you got to come as an independent and you better get some financing somehow, or the Movement for a People's Party needs to go after that district or something and get some big name people running and big name people behind you. Otherwise, I'm a progressive and I'm running against her in the primary. Ain't going to work. It's not going to work.
Well, I think too, another thing that happened recently that I think a lot of folks aren't realizing just how significant that is that AOC was saying publicly that she might want to get out of electoral politics. That shows you what the system really is. That shows you, the impossibility of really just completely taking over the Democratic Party. The fact that she's just at the point where she's like, I don't even know if I want to be in electoral politics anymore. And I'm not saying AOC's perfect. She's done some stuff that has frustrated me. She's done some other stuff that I liked. But, it really just goes to show you what the system really is. And that breaking up the duopoly, it's just, we have to do it. Like it has to happen. I mean, this whole, the Democratic establishment is set up so that a progressive takeover can't happen. A lot of these grassroots candidates, they don't have a ton of funding, and the Democratic establishment spent over $50 million crushing them. Crushing them is a bigger priority than beating Republicans. You got to go outside the system when that's the case, and you got to break up this duopoly. And by the way, when you do that, the progressives that have infiltrated, you're doing them a favor. It's not like, oh, it's either or. If we have a viable alternative to these two corrupt parties, a couple things could happen. One, the progressives that have infiltrated thus far can switch teams. They can go over. Or two, we're going to have a multi-party system because the duopoly is not going to give up without a fight. We're going to get ranked choice voting. And if that were the case, you would see alliances form, where you would see alliances between, say, MPP members or Greens or whatever, and progressive Democrats that have infiltrated the Democratic Party. And then either the Democratic Party would just be completely taken over and it would just end, kind of like what happened with the Whigs, where it's just not a thing anymore. Or we'd have more than two parties and the Democratic Party would actually have to be a centrist party, which it isn't now. It's a right-wing party.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next year, because I don't know that America is going to look the way it does right now anymore in the future. I don't think it's going to.
I don't think so either.
I think there's going to be some drastic changes, and there's some changes maybe we haven't even foreseen yet. There might be some states or regions seceding on their own. There might be, I don't know. It's going to be history. If you study history at all, America is lining up exactly like empires that collapse and get broken up. So,
yep.
We'll see what happens. Shavy Douglas for Justice. Boom. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.